Hey, good evening, Justice Warriors. Fancy seeing you here. Well, I'm not seeing anybody yet. I'll give it a couple of minutes. I'll just try to, get started with some minor adjustments on, let's see, why don't I just knock everything over? That's always what I'm afraid of. That's why I have this rule I'm not allowed to touch anything. Okay. Just like the pirate in that Drop Dead Fred movie, the pirate who's not allowed to touch anything. Jackie Bushable, what's up? Thank you for saying hi. How's my sound? Is it working? Is it good? Lovely to see you, my dear. How are things? Remind me if you'd like to, what part of the country or the globe you're in. I'm in Ohio where it's like single digits today. It got up to double digits, but it's bad. It's really bad out there. It's been bad for like a week. It's going to stay bad for about another week. And I just feel like I can't complain at all. I'd love to be able to melt the snow and send it to Los Angeles to put out some fires. So let's get started with the basics. Northwest Ohio is very cold. Oh my goodness. Yeah. That's awesome that you're in my lovely state, or not my lovely state, your lovely state. Thank you for allowing me in your lovely state. So yeah, I'm in the southwest quadrant. I used to not tell anybody about which quadrant I was in, but now I do. Please hit your like button if you don't mind. And let's see. Here we go. Make sure you're still subscribed. If you are subscribed, and if you're not, please consider just doing it because it helps the channel tremendously. I need all the help I can get. Oh my goodness, I just hit 750,000 views, you guys. I've been waiting with bated breath. I've just hit 750,000 views in my existence as a YouTube channel. I never thought I'd have more than like 12, honestly. It's so humbling. It's so cool. I hit that button every time. All right. And then make sure you share a video of mine with somebody that you think might like it. And turn on your notification bell to ring if you don't mind. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate you watching. And yeah, let's talk about some things. Everything I say is simply my opinion for the sake of hoping to start a conversation, open up a discussion, learn something. All my videos are made for YouTube. It's an entertainment platform. Jackie, why are you going crazy over the Idaho case? Do share. I mean, I've been following it ever reluctantly ever since it started. There was a while there where I got really into it without any reluctance, but for the most part, that case just is frustrating. Much like the Kiely Rodni case. Like, we know it's effed up. We know these people are lying. We know that there's people in positions of authority that are gaslighting. I mean, let's just talk about that with Kiely Rodni's case for a second, okay? Because it's just like back to square one. And I was thinking, kind of, I don't know, it might drive me insane. I was thinking of trying to review my Kiely Rodni videos and discuss them, kind of do reaction videos to my own old videos. But what I want to say before I forget is that we know that somebody was fighting with Kiely Rodni and that somebody is very much more than likely scammy. It's scammy, in my humble conspiracy theory opinion, allegedly. And we know that everything went south from there and that everybody's keeping quiet, which is why I keep bringing up this HBO miniseries that I just became aware of and watched the whole thing. And I want to rewatch it with this framework, Sharp Objects, because the theme is very similar to the theme of Truckee. Let's just call it what it is. Effie, right? I'm not going to say the word starting with an F because it's like what, the first 5 minutes of my video, and you're supposed to save that till after the first 7 minutes. But these towns that eat their freaking young, right? It's taking a turn and heating up. Oh, do tell, Jackie Bushable. Have I missed something? I've been keeping up with, oh dear. I love the Jewels of all trades, man. She's been killing it with her harshness on the Christina Randall video that Christina put out. I think it was New Year's Day, where she kind of did an overview of the Idaho 4 case. It drives me nuts when people call it the Koberger case, because don't call cases by the alleged perps. Call the cases by the victims, my opinion. I think it's important to keep the victims in the spotlight. And we don't know if Koberger had anything to do with it, do we? Wait 9 minutes before you kill us. 9? I thought it was 7. Dang it. Now I got to go 2 more minutes. I don't know if I can do it. So, yeah, the Idaho 4 is so scummy. Dylan Mortensen is scummy, and her scummy boyfriend, and Kiely's scummy on again, off again boyfriend. There's a lot of scumbags in these cases. Who else can I point the finger at and call scumbags? The James Fry, Julie Fry, Kathy Mabbutt. That's the coroner, or the medical examiner, for anybody who doesn't know. Coroner. I always get the two confused. So Kathy Mabbutt is the coroner, and she's a defense attorney. So she's like a registered nurse, and she's a defense attorney. Sorry. And I think it was about 7 years ago when it happened. So maybe like 9 years ago now, there was a man who happened to get arrested a week after the Idaho 4. And I went looking for his name and I couldn't find it. So this man, who was about 40 years old, you guys probably remember, he was stabbing or threatening to stab his wife and her kids and himself. And he was arrested. And so it was like, ooh, he's, doing the stabby thing. Is it him? Is it him? But he had taken a life. I'm forgetting how many years prior it was. Let's just say it was 15. I might be off, but he had taken somebody's life, and Kathy Mabbutt did the autopsy on that victim. And then she turned around and was the defense attorney for the unaliver, who happened to be the same guy that got arrested a week after the Idaho 4. And that is directly unethical, unprofessional, and a conflict of interest. Like, the person who did the autopsy would be privy to information that nobody else would be privy to. That person should not be allowed to be the defense attorney, in my opinion. But hey, who am I, right? Anyway, I think that a lot of the police officers for the Moscow PD are scumbags. I'll just call Brett Payne a scumbag. I'll call Blaker a scumbag, because he was the sergeant that was there, and he's not doing anything heroic. You've got the Idaho State Highway Patrol Trooper Tolson, who is the one who took that knife sheath into evidence, who not only should the State Highway Patrol not be the department to take it into evidence, especially that trooper, because he was already on the Brady Giglio list for some other conflicts of interest in Bonners Ferry. Bonners Ferry is a far away town, like 4 hours. And that just happens to be where Brett Payne owns the Meats and Locker. I mean, it just goes crazy in circles. Then you get the whole thing with Emma Bailey and Demetrius Robertson and the arrest of them when Caden Young passed away on spring break in Western Washington. He was the University of Idaho student. Can we just call the University of Idaho what it is? It's like a cult, is it not? Just like Truckee. Anyway, I'm curious if you want to share about what is taking a turn. So I'm very impressed with Jewels of All Trades' ability to track down the minutia of the things that Christina Randall is saying in her video that are false, that are not substantiated. She's saying it like it is substantiated. And then I critiqued it very gently and politely. And then Jewels of All Trades critiqued it very not gently and not politely. And I actually thought she did a much better job. Like, that was the appropriate way to go, I think. I was being a little bit too nice and too polite. And then she's come out swinging. She's done at least another follow up video of criticism, and it's constructive criticism. And I don't think Christina Randall's paying attention. I don't think if she has like a staff, they're not paying attention, and they should be. So one of the things that Jules did on her last review of this, I think it was just yesterday, is she looked up how much money Christina has made off of that one video so far. And I think it was somewhere in the range of $3,000 so far from one video. I think it's like maybe 30 minutes ish, give or take. Billy Darling says, listening and sipping tea. I was drinking a peppermint mocha that's all gone. So now I just have my water. But yeah, it was really good, the peppermint mocha. How are you, my Billy Darling? Yeah. So you're Northern California, and can you smell all the smoke from Los Angeles? Can you see it? I mean, I think I could see it in our Ohio sunset last night. Seriously. I know that that's possible, and I think that I did. It was a gorgeous sunset. Fires make for gorgeous sunsets, but it's a hefty price to pay. I heard today or last night that BK worked at a meat packing place for 3 months, but not sure where. But the first thing I thought, it's not looking good right now. Oh, did he work for Brett Payne at the Meats and Locker? Seriously, that's probably exactly what we're going to find out, right? Yes, it is hazy in San Francisco Bay, east side here. Wow. Wow. OMG, the sunsets have been amazing. I know that is one positive aspect. But man, those fires. And then I just read last night that it's like freezing cold too, which is weird. Like, usually the Santa Ana winds are bizarrely warm. Like, they're creepy because winds are supposed to be, like a breeze. And when you have these devil winds, as they are called for good reason, because they are definitely of the devil, and then they're hot devil winds, and now they're having cold devil winds. I'm just like, man, could it get any more effed up? It is very cold right now, Billy Darling, but I thought that first, but it could have been in Pennsylvania. Yeah. Well, I've never heard of him working at a meat packing plant. I heard of him working at like a fish hatchery kind of thing, but he wasn't real good with a knife and he wasn't real good with the customers, so he lost the job, I think. Jackie, oh wow, that is very interesting. Yeah. Fish was in Pennsylvania. Okay. Well, yeah, wouldn't that be wild if there is a meat packaging job that he had and it did have something to do with Brett Payne? I really think that case similar to the jealousy in the Kiely Rodney case. I think that there's some jealousy with Brett Payne towards Koberger. You know, Brett Payne has had his master's degree already. He was 33 when it happened, and they told us he was 26 for some bizarre reason. And then Koberger was about 28, I think, at the time. So he'd be 30 now. And I don't know if he had his master's degree. I think he did. Didn't he get his master's and then he was working on his doctorate? Or did he go from a bachelor's degree right into a doctorate program? I can't remember. But whichever it was, he was working on his doctorate degree. So, you know, people get threatened and feel competitive with education like that, high education. And I know I talk a lot about education and I don't want to be like a snooty snob like that. I really think that having compassion and being able to think for yourself and having real life experience are the most important elements in what makes us who we are and what defines success. But in our culture, that little piece of paper goes a long way. And a lot of people will give you respect simply because you have that piece of paper. And you don't even really have to do anything to earn it once you've earned the piece of paper, which I think is kind of stupid. But, you know. Yes, he got a master's in Pennsylvania. Thank you, Jackie Bushable. Right, right, right. Because he was working with that one professor, and I'm blanking on her name right now, the older woman who is like an expert in the BTK. What's her name? You guys remember? I can Google it real quick. Because, you know, me, I drive myself nuts with not being able to remember what it is I'm trying to remember. But yeah, I never knew about her before. BTK expert professor. And so she was probably at DeSales, right? Because that isn't that where he got his bachelor's and his master's? Catherine Ramsland. Yes. Da 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 da. Dr. Catherine Ramsland is a professor of forensic psychology at DeSales University who worked with the BTK serial unaliver Dennis Rader. She is an expert on extreme offenders and have written several books about serial unalivers. So, yeah, it would be interesting. She did work directly with BK, didn't she, with Koberger? Brian's crime professor at DeSales shares an article about him on Twitter. Yeah. So sorry for the noise in the background. So yeah, she did teach him directly. Here's an article from Newsweek. And she graduated in the class of 1978 from Northern Arizona University. Wouldn't that be wild if she was one of the expert witnesses or just a witness in a trial if it ever gets there? I never thought it would go to trial. I always thought that Koberger would get Jeffrey Epstein. That's honestly what I've always thought. I'm glad it hasn't happened yet. I hope that it doesn't happen. I mean, I don't know that he'd get a fair trial, but being unalived in prison would be pretty unfair to everybody, you know, to the victims, the families, to him, to his family, to the public. That would just be disgraceful. Bingo in San Felipe. Oh, you crack me up, Annie. Bingo and Domino's and getting your teeth cleaned. I'm glad you have time for me too. They only have sent two people on to they've only sent two people on to the graduate school. I think that's what you're getting at, right, Jackie Bushable? That Catherine Ramsland, it wasn't her, it was the other professor, the younger one, who said that she really thought highly of Koberger and that she'd only made the recommendation for one other student to get a doctorate degree. Hold on one second. Hey, love bug, can you turn it down, please? Yeah. Okay, I'm back. Could you guys hear that? Bob's Burgers in the background. My girl just got home from basketball practice. She's sitting there in her underpants with a big jar of pickles, watching Bob's Burgers. That girl, she cracks me up. She's awesome. The mini me, right? Okay, let's see. What else were you saying here? Granny Annie says, I still think this won't go to trial due to lack of prosecution giving discovery. They keep holding minor details. And Jackie Bushbull says, the hearings are this month, January 23rd and 24th. Yeah, that'll be interesting, huh? In the Koberger case? Wow. Fascinating. So I had some notes about some other cases that I wanted to discuss with you. I wanted to discuss some about the Kentucky judge and Sheriff Mickey. Sheriff Mickey, that's what everybody called him, just Mickey. Mickey Steins. And then the judge is Kevin Mullins. So yeah, I've caught up with some more information from Surviving the Survivor, and they had that hillbilly crime content creator on their panel, and I need to check out her channel. It sounds like she really knows the case well because she lives there and she's a part of the community of Letcher County, and she's been through the system, and she has a master's degree, maybe in like social work or something. But she said she can't get a job because she's always talking about advocating for change, and she's not from the right family, and it's a small town, so they won't hire her. But she has a new YouTube channel that she just started, I think, like 3 weeks before the event happened in the judges' chambers, but she has a lot of, I think, very accurate insight and information. And I had heard of her channel, but I hadn't heard her speak before. So that was cool to get introduced to her. So I want to talk about that. I also wanted to talk about some of the parallels with that case and like the Murdoch trials and J.P. Miller, because it all kind of goes the same direction, doesn't it? Where these people are running the town, they're running the show. It's a very disproportionate power inequality, and they get away with red rum. So my last live, Justice Danielle, Justice Freedom Voices Danielle, she came in to the chat. Sorry, I'm not remembering the name of her channel so readily. Let me see if I can look it up real quick. And excuse me, if I go to my live and then go to the description, come on, too many steps, man. And that's exactly what I didn't want, was I didn't want anything to make sounds. Voices for Justice with Danielle. Okay, voices. I was just like starting it with justice, and that wasn't working. I see that C3PO has come in the house. And hola. Prosecution does not want it out in the public, and Taylor wants it to be public. Very interesting, Jackie. Yeah, Ann Taylor, man, I did not trust her at all at first because she also is a graduate of the cult. And, she is in the club, basically. She's an employee of uh, the cult, essentially. So I really was unsure about her, but she's kind of proven herself, in my opinion, to be really good and really fair and decent and good legal representation for him. I hope that she continues with that and that opinion is accurate. So I wanted to talk a little bit about Chinatown, the movie from 1972, I think it was, and how that's sort of what was playing out in Truckee, sort of what's playing out in Los Angeles right now. Um, what else? And then the the hearings, the weird swearing in hearings like Hegseth. Oh man, it's like comedy, except it's more like horror, in my opinion. So let's talk about the corruption there in what's the name of the county with the Kentucky judge and Sheriff Steins, Letcher County. So Letcher County is Appalachian, and the Appalachians have always historically been very poverty stricken. It's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous with all the mountains and wildlife, but it's a rough lifestyle, and it does not lend itself to like trade and money, right? It's kind of isolating, basically. I mean, you would think in this day and age, with everybody working remotely online, that might change, but the culture there is very um, stable, of being small town Appalachian, and a lot of problems historically with addiction, with like the opioid crisis that swept our whole country. I know I went to the Appalachians in West Virginia and got to see that with my own eyes. And then now with methamphetamine. And I think that is largely what the women that are involved in the criminal justice system, that are addicts, are largely addicted to methamphetamine, which is so sad. I mean, what a horrible substance. It just ravages people's bodies and brains and souls. And, I'm an addict in recovery. 35 years, I think, dare I say. Yeah, it's coming up around there. I think it was like fall of 89. So, yeah, I think I just passed my 25-year mark. 25, 35. What year is it? 35-year mark. I can't believe the years just keep piling up. I'm like, no, I can't be that old. It's 25. Okay, 35 years sober. I never, ever thought I would make it 35 days. I fortunately never tried meth. That was kind of new at the time. And I was scared that I was going to try it, which was one of the reasons that I finally got into a outpatient professional rehab. I finally got professional help because I saw what it was doing to people, and like my peer group, people were like pressuring me to try it, and I was like, no, 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 no. And I was afraid that I would eventually give in. So anyway, it helped me get it together, just fear of even trying it. Um, But where I was going with that is that in the Appalachians, with these women that are then on house arrest, and I guess they have to pay like $300 a month to wear an ankle bracelet to monitor their house arrest. And then if they don't have the money, they know that they can trade sexual favors for the $300. And so essentially they're getting um, abused, they're getting taken advantage of, they're getting assaulted. And we know that some of that was happening right there in the judge's chambers, and that one of the deputies that pled guilty was Sheriff Mickey Stein's direct underling. So he either knew or should have known that it was going on. And my guess is that he knew. It sounds like it was an open secret, like really not a secret at all, that everybody knew that that was happening everywhere with law enforcement and women that were in trouble. So some of the stuff that this is it Hillbilly, what is the name of her channel? I keep thinking Hillbilly LG, um, Hillbilly True Crime or something like that. I'll put a link in the description to the um, Surviving the Survivor video that I was watching that she was on the panel from, or the panel of. But one of the things that she was talking about that I'd heard other channels talk about, and I had thought about it, but I hadn't really paid that much attention until just today. The rehab. So the judges send people to rehab in the courts, right? And then the rehab facility that they get sent to is making mass amounts of money, and there's some corruption there, and maybe insurance fraud, maybe some kickback. You're not supposed to have kickback, but we all know that that happens. So it sounds like a lot of people are involved with a lot of corruption, not just the sexually explicit crap. So one of the woman, and I forget her name, that is suing Mickey Steins, suing Letcher County and Mickey Steins for the abuse from the deputy in that judge's chamber. She says that she was basically pimped out to this fire chief guy, and yeah, everybody's like cousins with everybody. I think it's like the district attorney's sister is Mickey Steins's wife. Like the district attorney and Mickey Steins married two sisters. She did say that the wife and the daughter have been present at all the court proceedings. So that was interesting. I didn't know if they were or not. But yeah, this Hillbilly True Crime was saying follow the money, which is pretty much always the case, right? Always the case. Follow the money, follow the money. We can do that in Kiely Rodney's case. We can do that in Idaho 4. We can do that with the Lahaina fires, and hopefully not, but it's probably going to turn out that you can do that with the Los Angeles fires too. Like these Los Angeles fires are just way too suspicious, you guys. I'm trying so hard not to look down that rabbit hole until we have more information, but it is just, there's too many things that just aren't right. And one of the things that's just not right, I've been watching Truth Tsunami's videos, and they're really good. I really appreciate her work. One of the things that's looking really crooked, if it's accurate, because again, you can make a video that is, artificial intelligence or manipulated or whatever, but these satellite images of the forest fires, like starting at the exact same time in different locations, right? So you guys have probably all seen that. And again, I'll put a link in the description to a couple of Truth Tsunami's most recent videos about this. And then the fires, I mentioned this in the last live, the fires are looking like they are starting at trailheads or maybe on hiking paths. And it's just, that's suspicious. Like, why are they all starting on trailheads and hiking paths? That would lead you to believe that people are going out to the trailheads, out to the hiking paths. Maybe they're smoking cigarettes, right, and hiking in the wind. I mean, I doubt it, but anything's possible. That's why you just want to be careful about jumping to conclusions, because it's really easy to fall into a rabbit hole and then not be able to get up, right? We don't want that. We don't want that. Um, so Chinatown is the Jack Nicholson movie. Is it Faye Dunaway? It's a classic. I'm pretty sure it was 1972. It probably won a whole bunch of Oscars. And those of us that are old enough have probably all seen it, like way back in the day. I was a small kid. I would have been 5 when it came out. But my father watched all those movies, and I usually was exposed to them because he didn't want to hire a babysitter. He would just take me to the movies with him. Like, what did I see? I saw some really bad movies. He didn't take me to see Exorcist, thank God, but that scared me enough that he was going. But he took me to see Tommy when I was 8, and that was pretty spooky. Um, Doctor Strangelove, Apocalypse Now. I mean, movies that are. This was a really bad one. Marathon Man with Dustin Hoffman. I think I was like 8 years old when he took me to see that, and that spooked me for a long time. Um, there was a movie called Autopsy that he took me to that I was really excited to see because I thought it was Auto Spy. So I was like, where's the auto spies? The whole movie, I'm like, when are they going to get to the people spying from the cars? Why all these dead bodies? Is that so cute? But, to take your child to see Auto Spy when she's probably 9, maybe. I think I was about 9. I mean, he just had no common sense, but I mean, we all know where that went, and we don't need to go there. Thanks for listening. Anyway, back on track. Chinatown, I did watch it a few years ago because it kept coming up with the Kiely Rodni case. Chinatown is all about the water rights in Los Angeles, and it's just the same old story again and again. There's also a really twisted element in Chinatown for anybody who hasn't seen it or anybody who doesn't remember, where, and I don't want to, spoiler alert, if it's going to spoil it for you, this is where you turn it off if you don't know the ending or you don't want to know. That I think it's Faye Dunaway's character. Her daughter is also her sister, kind of like the My Own Private Idaho, if you remember that movie with River Phoenix. His brother was also his dad, right? These things happen in real life. And when they do happen, and then when there's crimes and a national spotlight, people want to keep things undercover and under wraps, right? So I'm not saying anything like that was going on in Truckee, but it's entirely possible and maybe even probable. I mean, real life things get funky, and um, the folks in Truckee that live off grid, that's a whole different mentality. So I don't know. Anyway, it's an important movie, I think, for the Kiely Rodni case. And I think it's also an important movie that I might even want to rewatch it now, thinking about this Los Angeles, what they're calling forest fires, right? I mean, because I think they are forest fires, they're wildfires, but we just don't know if they've started from arson. I think now there's been at least 4 people arrested for arson, right? Or is it more than that now? Um, yes, my son says fires are being set. Yeah, well, we know for sure the people that are arrested for setting fires. And, I know a couple of them, the fires that they set were contained, but the fires that killed people, if those were arson, the arsonists will be charged with red rum. Sub Rosa, what's up? She played a mean fiddle though. Oh, didn't she? I know. I love the fiddling man. Ah, I just love that. And I love the video. Was it Ninja? Who was it who just made the video real recently focusing on uh it was not Ninja. Help me out here. Our dear friend. Why am I blanking? She's in my chat a lot. Or they're in my chat a lot. Um and so the my brain just freezes up when I'm in my lives. It's so annoying. Freezes up extra when I'm on live. Stage fright, right? Oh, look, I can watch my live while I'm here with you guys. It says that it was 26 minutes ago, but that's weird. I'm still on, right? Don't mess with my headphone. My phone is so out of whack. Let's see. Kiely Rodni with the Fiddlin' Man. I just want to see who made the video. Oh, man. My phone is so freaking messed up. I'm telling you, it's horrible. You guys know who I'm talking about, right? It's driving me crazy. Not Seeker of Truth. Come on, my brain is not going to let me let this one go. I have to figure it out. I'm just going to Google the Kiely Rodni Fiddling Man. Sorry, you guys. You guys aren't going to help me with the person that's always in my chat that made the video? Come on. I need your help. I need it now. Now's the time. Okay, I'm just having dead space because I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up. Brain is so dead. Come on. You guys know she just did the video talking about the fiddling man. I guess I'm gonna have to give up, but it drives me crazy. And I know that I had linked it up in one of my most recent videos, but I'm not finding it. Fred Field, help me. My brain is stuck. I can't remember who our dear friend is that's in the chat so often that just did the short video about Kiely Rodni and the Fiddlin' Man video and how um, how she looked so angry. And her granddad looked so happy that it was kind of creepy that he was looking so happy when she was looking so unhappy. Um, that's what I'm trying to get to. Don't remember. Okay. I apologize, you guys. My brain is just completely fried. And then I'm going to feel so bad for not remembering because it's a content creator who's in here all the time. The one that we don't know if male or female, and they go by they. And they have an interesting um, handle. Oh, I wish I had shared it on my community tab because then I could go right to it. And I think I was going to, but then I didn't. Yeah. I think I forgot to. So you guys bear with me. Help me figure it out. Please, I beg of you. Um, it's got to be one of these. It wasn't Seeker of Truth. Um, I guess I'm going to have to forget about it and move on, huh? I'm just making it worse. I'm making it so much worse. And I'm just stuck. I can't let it go. I'm going to find it. I am. But maybe not this time. Not this time, right? BoobTube TV. That's who it was, you guys. Come on. BoobTube TV. And that's probably where I had it linked up. Let's see. So it was a couple weeks ago. It was 2 weeks ago. Let me see if I can play it for you guys real quick. Since I've made you suffer through this, I can't believe I was blanking on BoobTube TV. That's such an easy name to remember, is it not? And yeah. I'm just going to play it for you guys. Since I've gotten this far off a track. BoobTube TV, Kiely Rodni. And you can't even find that channel. That's a really tough channel to find because shadow banning, I think. So, okay. Dare I give up now that I've gone this far? I'm the worst at names. Don't know what you're talking about. They don't have the evidence, in my opinion. They just need the frats, real slayers, not charged, in my opinion. Yeah. Um, okay, here we go. I know you guys have all seen this, but maybe there's somebody who hasn't. She's so adorable. Holding it up to the screen. We'll just play it to the end, even if it demonetizes the video. Who cares? Totally worth it. She just keeps going. She won't stop. So yeah, she looks pretty angry the whole time she's playing. There's only like one point where she smiles, and her granddad looks excessively happy. And I never really paid that much attention to the stark contrast of their expressions until BoobTube TV pointed it out in one of their videos a few weeks ago. And I just thought that it was very astute. I think that there's probably something to it. I always thought that she just didn't want to be playing music with these old farts. She wanted to be like hanging out with little kids, like doing little kids stuff. I mean, she was only 7 or maybe 8. But I feel like I don't hear Kiely's songs enough. Like, I love hearing Far Away. I love that Ninja Chihuahua has it in her opening and closing. But let's play this one with the mandolin and the grandpa. This could be her song. We'll just listen to this one and then we'll be done with our musical part. I love this. A bunch of pans just fell down. More. Man, no respect for the daughter's music. I mean, because that was happening in the Fiddlin' Man song too. It makes me think that, you know, maybe her mother was putting away dishes and just banging around the pots and pans, which, even though, yeah, you need to do your chores and take care of business, you're running an Airbnb, you're running a lodge, a bed and breakfast, you still, like, just show some consideration. Like, don't bang around the pots and pans while your kid is singing, performing, and you know it's being videotaped too. It's, to me, that's just shitty, just straight up shitty. But I hope that you guys enjoyed those little Kiely videos as much as I do. I enjoy them so much every time, and I just can't get enough of them. And it's just so heartbreaking. I mean, that girl was so talented. So I wanted to talk about something that we don't often talk about, somebody who's been back in the news lately for all the wrong reasons. You know, he's the first recipient of a rat penis transplant. Did you guys hear this? It was posted on Facebook when they quit doing the fact checking. Mark Zuckerberg is the first successful recipient of a rat penis transplant. I'll put a link in the description. I'm not kidding you. I didn't make this up. I mean, obviously somebody made it up, but that's his just dessert. Anyway, remember when the rat penis transplant guy was boots on the ground looking for Kiely? Like, that blew my mind, because multi-billionaires don't go boots on the ground with normal people. That's just not safe. I mean, they could get harmed, they could get abducted, you know, they might have to interact with lowly humans. I mean, it's just unheard of. It really is. So that, I thought, was surprising enough. I thought, well, that's cool that he wants to help. But what was so chilling, what is still so chilling about that, is that it got scrubbed off the internet. So when things are scrubbed off the internet, to me, that's vital information. That information is being suppressed. And you have to ask yourself why. Why would they scrub that off the internet? I mean, it almost seems like I'm making it up, doesn't it? But other people that have been following Kiely's case from the beginning can vouch for me. I'm not making it up. Zuckerberg was boots on the ground. It was written about in different places on the interwebs, and then that all got scrubbed. I haven't done a Google for it lately. I will, though, later on. I'm going to try not to pick up my phone anymore while I'm on my live with you guys. Thank you for tolerating that. That was driving me crazy. BoobTube TV. Like, how could I forget that channel? That is one of my moderators, for crying out loud, right? Dang. Like I said, my brain just really freezes up sometimes when I'm on live. And I know I'm not the only one. I know a lot of content creators do that. So even content creators that have like millions of subs, literally. So, so yeah. What's up, Z? What's up, Zuck? Why you don't want people to know that you were looking for Kiely? I think we need to ask ourselves that. And why is it so obvious that this friendly fight is also something that they're trying to erase or suppress? We got to ask ourselves that too. And I think we all know why, right? It's so infuriating. So, Voices for Justice with Danielle came into the live the last time I was doing a live, like the day before yesterday. And she was mentioning a video that she had dropped a few weeks ago about a couple that was found unalive, a couple that was from Solid Rock Church. And I don't think they're the first couple. I think there's two couples that have gone missing and come up deceased. And even if it's just the one, that's still just not normal to have so many passing away from the same church. When you got Chris Skinner, you got Micah Miller, you've got one or two other married couples. It's a lot like the Lori Daybell, Chad Daybell case, right? People are just dropping like flies. What is it that these people know that they don't want out? Just like in going back to the Kentucky, the Letcher County, Kentucky case, was there information that um, Judge Mullins had? Was there information that Sheriff Mickey Steins didn't want the judge to reveal? Things about sex, things about money, things about substances. So that's one of the things that the Hillbilly True Crime channel was talking about with the Letcher County Police Department, is that when they would do a rug bust, they would, and I've seen other departments do this too, they lay out all of their evidence that they confiscated on the hood of a police car, and they take a picture of it and they post it on Facebook to brag. And then what happens with that? I think the evidence room in most police departments is a place where a lot of corruption can happen, because you're going to have cash in there, you're going to have substances in there, you're going to have other valuable stuff in the evidence room. And then who's tracking it? Usually there's like an evidence room tech who tracks it all. So if you're that person, or if you're tight with that person, you might be able to score, right? Some extra cash, some extra party favors, some extra gold watches. Who knows? But what that Hillbilly True Crime channel was talking about is that that's a big problem in Letcher County in particular. I'm sure it's not isolated to that county, but she was talking about in the millions of dollars. So, yeah, I really like your last comment that I highlighted, Granny Annie. I'm going to read it out loud and then get to your new one. I think Kylie disliked being used as the family moneymaker. Sick, in my opinion. I felt like Grandpa cared, but possibly too much. Perv Pervs can get warped about true love. Lots of quotes, lots of air quotes, Annie. And then when they lay out rugs, pew pews, and cash, I bet not all of the cash makes it to evidence. Well, and pew pews are worth a lot of cash too, and so are the rugs. So yeah, the thing with the rugs is that since they're illegal, I think it's easier to steal that stuff. The money and the pew pews can be tracked more readily. So, like, say when law enforcement does a big bust and they confiscate all that stuff, they don't have to log all the rugs. They can just sell it. I mean, what are they going to get a criminal complaint from the criminal that they confiscated it from? But also, I think it's in every state. If it's a rug bust, they can confiscate the house, the car, all of it, and it doesn't matter whose house and whose car. Anything that is close to the rug activity is on the chopping block. So um, that's always seemed like something that could be readily abused too when you're talking real estate and vehicles. That's where you need to get your auto spy on it, right? Isn't that cute, you guys? I thought the movie was Auto Spy, and every time I see the word autopsy, I still like want to say Auto Spy. The mind of a child. Yeah. So, yeah, what else, you guys? We've been on for just over an hour, and I don't want to bore you too much. Thank you for hanging in there with me while I was having major brain fart trying to find Boob Tube TV name and that video with the fiddling man. So, yeah, you can't tell me that people didn't have an eye on Kylie Rodney. And again, some of the information that we forget about that doesn't really get highlighted, and it should. Kylie Rodney was pulled over. I think it was just like a week before she disappeared. It was like the end of July. She was driving without her license, without proof of insurance, but we don't know what she was pulled over for. And then they made her come into the city hall with her proof of insurance or her license, whichever it was. I think it was the proof of insurance. Um, that's very unusual. It's a very unusual way to handle a situation. But the fact that she was in the city hall right before she went missing, why would they not show that videotape surveillance? Why would they not show still shots of that when she was a missing person and they're trying to get the public to help find her? It's always been my thought process that they don't want people to recognize her, that's why they didn't have more surveillance still shots. And then, that one surveillance still shot that they said was Kylie from the what was it called? Like the I want to say East Lake Deli or something like that, the convenience store. Um I don't think that's Kylie. Kylie, not Kylie. I thought people were so weird when they started saying that that wasn't Kylie. I was like, man, why do people have to trip out so much on YouTube? Why do people have to always go sideways, go cray cray? And then it took like a year before I was like, yeah, I think they're right. I don't think that is Kylie. And honestly, sometimes I'm still up in the air with it, but overall, it's a weird ass picture. It doesn't look like her. It's all photoshopped. I mean, I don't think it's her. I think it's scammy. But when you're saying that you're trying to look for somebody, why wouldn't you have multiple pictures of them, real current, real recent, like still shots of the surveillance from when she went into the city hall, or still shots of surveillance going to other gas stations in town? And we have to remember too that Sheriff Wayne Wu owned all of the 7-Elevens in Tahoe, right? Sheriff Wayne Wu, I think, more than likely had his eye on Kiely. He had a thing for 16-year-olds, just like these other freaks, like Diddy and Daisy and Epstein. Um, Wayne Wu admitted to the affair that he had with the explorer that he said he didn't know was 16. And then he gets sworn in, I want to say July 26th of 2022. And then 10 days later, a smoking hot 16-year-old from his county goes missing. I mean, she lived right on the edge of Placer County. So that's why when it was a missing persons case, it first went to Placer County. But did Wayne Wu ever show his face at any of these events? Did he ever do any pressers? It seems to me that he pretty much hid. He had that female in the purple dress as the PR expert or whatever. What's her name? Starts with an M. Marciana or something like that. Um, so she was the spokesperson for Placer County. But still, like, you want to see the police chief, don't you? I think that's very suspicious. Plus, his son was at the freaking party, allegedly. His son was one of the Nates. Oh, it's so frustrating. So frustrating. Granny Annie says Shasta County, my friend's neighbor, had proper permits to grow green leafy plants that stink. Sheriff still made them use their tractor and tear down plants and took $17,000 cash, only returned 7,000, lost 10K. Wow, Granny Annie, that is crazy. Crazy. Irritated, I missed most of the Kylie talk. My son called for a payday loan of $200 from me. LOL. You're so nice, Fred, to help your son out like that. Isn't it nice that you can? It's nice that he can lean on you when he needs to. Um, but yeah, I played some of the Kylie tunes. I'm sure you can catch it on the replay crew if you'd like. And yeah, just talking about the whole Zuckerberg thing getting scrubbed off the internet. Oh, I also talked about how he's the first successful recipient of a rat penis transplant. Did you hear about that, Fred? It said so on Facebook, so it has to be true. Oh, wait, no, they don't fact check. If you Google it, it's all over. It's all over the internet. It's freaking hilarious. I mean, he had that coming. He deserved that. Anna Bees, hello, hello. Like Idaho 4 immediately went to DM as involved, but took about 6 months for us not to be muted for suggesting such a thing. So Dylan Mortensen in Idaho 4. Um, yeah. Yeah, these kids, college kids, teenage kids with their rugs, with their parties, with their friends. Um, you guys in my chat had told me recently about a drama series called Red Rum Among Friends, and I did check it out, but it's really hard to stomach. And right away, the very first episode, the very first one, right in the beginning, they used that word gruesome, just like Sam Brown. And it just kind of made me think, like, so when there's a red rum it's often going to be gruesome. But when you've got teenagers, maybe it's going to be especially gruesome because they just don't realize how messy that stuff is, and how difficult it is. So things get a lot more gruesome than with people with a higher level of maturity and experience and understanding. I just thought it was really odd that that word came up like right off the bat at the very beginning of the very first episode. And yeah, I mean, packs of teenagers turning on one of their own is nothing new. It's not something we like to think about. It's not something that people want to talk about. And then when the people involved are like billionaires, or their families have control of $34 billion worth of government contracts over the decade, then nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody. Except us scum of the earth, loser freaks on the YouTube true crime. I mean, it seems so obvious to me, you guys. It's so frustrating. Is it not so obvious what's going on there in Truckee? It's so awful. It's so awful. Like, when is someone going to tell the truth for Kiely? When? Do we have to wait 50 years like with freaking Martha Moxley? Martha Moxley's gruesome bludgeoning will be 50 years ago this coming October 30th. And it's an unsolved cold case that has been solved and then back to unsolved and then solved again and then back to unsolved. Because again, connections, family connections, money. It's terrible. Absolutely terrible. And it's only because her family has money that they've been able to keep it in the spotlight of any awareness, any publicity. And my goodness, I really think that JFK's book called Framed, that was the title of his book. I want to say he published it in 2016, the one that I think is largely responsible for getting Michael Skakel's conviction overturned twice. Because I think it was overturned and then it was reinstated and then it was overturned again. And then it was on the 45th anniversary 4 years ago that a judge declared that that could never be touched again. And that's just like crazy, like Kennedy crap. Like, why would you declare that it could never be touched again? But I think that that book had a lot of influence. And it just horrifies me that RFK does what he does and is in the position that he's in. All of these people getting sworn in. Let's talk about that before we wrap up. It's kind of funny. Like I said earlier, it's kind of funny, except that it's so frightening. You know, part of the argument for people that were supporters of Hegseth getting confirmed, you know, this one guy said some brilliant things like, a lot of politicians show up drunk to vote. A lot of politicians have cheated on their wives. So why are you picking on Hegseth? Why are you trying to make an example of him? And then he said the best thing ever. He's like, give me a joke. He literally said that. Give me a joke. I love it. That was just classic. Have you guys seen that? So I think that was in yesterday's confirmation hearings, and all the comedians have been talking about it on the internet. Give me a joke. Okay, here's one. Uh, but yeah, I mean, he's such a freaking scumbag. So some of the best comments directed right to him during the confirmation hearing, I would think would have disqualified him from being confirmed. Elizabeth Warren had a lot of good questions. Like she asked him straight up, like, so what happened in the 32 days from the time that you said that women should never serve in active duty to you then saying that some of the best officers and soldiers are women? Like, she's like, how'd you make that transformation? Can you just enlighten us on your thought process or your process around that? And he just wouldn't answer it. And then there was this politician whose name I'm not familiar with. I should be, and maybe you guys are. I think she's Asian and she's a double amputee. She's a vet from the military services. And she asked him a lot of really good questions that he not only needs to know the answer to, he was completely unfamiliar and unwilling to just have a conversation, like just say, "Oh, I'm not familiar with that. Let me do some research and get back to you." That's a fair answer to a question that you don't know the answer to, that you should know the answer to. It's like, I don't know what you're talking about, and it sounds like something that I should know. So let me look into it and get back to you on a later date. Can I get your email address or something? Right? I mean, something. But he was just like trying to wing it. He was trying to fake it. He was just like using buzzwords. And she was asking him like what countries are part of this treaty or that treaty, and he's just like dropping all these names of all these countries. He's like, I don't know if it's this or that, and she's like, no, it's none of those. Not one. He didn't get any of them. I mean, really, really over the top. Over the top. Granny Annie says, I've been Googling my ailment symptoms. Bingo, AI nailed it. I think hip pain after menopause to a T. Well, Granny Annie, I don't know if you are interested in trying the yoga that I'm doing, but I'm doing that routine every single day and it's phenomenal. I used to have such severe knee problems that I almost got knee surgery. That was like over 5 years ago. And I don't have any knee problems right now. So a lot of the stretches that I do in my yin yoga routine are really good for hips. So if it's something that you're interested in, I'd highly recommend it. It's just such a good workout. I mean, I like to say you can do it lightly and you're still going to feel it. You're still going to benefit from it. Or you can like push yourself as far as you can, and then you're really going to feel it. You're um, going to benefit a lot from it, but you don't want to push yourself too far because then that will backfire. But anything in between too. And all of the suggestions for movement and postures and stretches, they're all just suggestions. Like everything is open to interpretation or modification. And I always like to recommend that people check in with a physician before starting any type of new exercise routine if it's new to you. But yeah, I am just so happy that I've been really serious about the yoga for the last year and a half. It's been life changing. I'm still looking for my yoga mat. Oh, you're funny. I wish I could send you one. I have a few. Right after bingo is yoga at the clubhouse, hips degrading. But we'll buy another mat and try with this group in San Felipe. And you can just use a towel too. You don't have to have a mat. What got scrubbed? C3PO says the Zuckerberg boots on the ground for Kiely Rodney. Like he checked in on the Cal Topo, right? He signed up. He signed in, but it's gone. It's all been eradicated off the interwebs. And a lot of people were making comments about it back when it happened. It was, in the early days of her missing. I want to say maybe by day 3 he was out there, boots on the ground. And then I doubt you can find anything to do with him and Kiely Rodni on the internet at this point in time. Anna B says, yes, I remember that. I know. See, if other people didn't remember, I'd be thinking, I must be inventing this stuff in my head. That's the problem with the manipulation and the gaslighters, is they get away with it when they get us to question ourselves. And I really believe that the only thing more evil in this world, the only thing more evil than self-doubt is someone else trying to inject self-doubt onto another person. I think that is the darkest, most evilest thing, period. Granny Annie says, 25th, I drive back to Vegas. My full body CRPS is painful, hard to get off ground, towel not soft enough. Well, and maybe chair yoga would be a better option for you, Granny Annie. Yeah, for some people, getting down on the ground is not possible, and getting back up again is even more not possible. They take pictures with no regard. We all need to stick together. Well, I think we all need to stick together for Kiely Rodni. I'm so glad that there's such a strong core group of Kiely Rodni justice seekers, and anybody who's interested in justice for Kiely Rodni. Even the AJ one with, yeah, I don't think she's really interested in justice for Kiely. But anybody who is interested in justice for Kiely, just like I don't really believe SF Investigates has any interest in real justice for Kiely. I don't believe that MC Ultra has any interest in justice for Kiely. She's all about protecting Scammy. I think SF Investigates is also all about protecting Scammy, and maybe all about protecting some big Chinatown kind of creepy secrets in the town of Fucky. There, I could say it at the end of the video, right? Where they speak Truckanese or Fuckanese. I've never been acceptable for deceased. It's never been acceptable for deceased have photographed so fragrantly. Oh, the photographs of Kiely. The sleepy and shh, and then the one that I call, what do I call it? Weekend at Bernie's. That one where it looks like her in the back seat with 2 brunettes. And one of those brunettes looks like it could be Scammy. I do not know. That's from the Be Real. That's from the Be Real photograph. And where's everybody else's Be Real? Where's all the videos from the party, you guys? Remember, the police said that they had hundreds of videos they were going over. And Scammy said that there's videos of people making videos. Where are they? We've never seen one, have we? Anna B's, I have tried it on the bed. Feels like my lack of motivation. Bingo to yoga may be what makes me stay. I forget what I am doing. Need group to focus. I know. I really need to have a yoga class that like I would go to with a yoga instructor and yoga pupils around me to keep my focus. If I would try to do yoga at home, I would just kind of drift off after like 5, 10, maybe 20 minutes, and I'd just be doing other stuff, and I'd forget that I was doing yoga. Like, I know it sounds ridiculous, but it's true. But now that I've been trained as a yoga instructor and I have my routine that I love so much, I am just like really into that routine, really into it because it's different every single day, even though it's the same routine every day. Tammy Duckworth. Who's Tammy Duckworth? Fred? Who that? Who that? I have no idea. Should I Google it? Because I was getting ready to sign off. That name doesn't ring a bell at all. Do you guys know? Is that something in the Kiely Rodni case? Or is that just out of left field? Duckworth. The senator. Thank you, my dear. You're so good, Fred. You are on it. So yeah, Tammy Duckworth is the senator who I had mentioned earlier, the double amputee. I don't know if she is Asian. It doesn't matter. It's not really important what her nationality is or what her ethnicity is. I mean, we know she's an American. Duh. Um, let's see. It says here, Lotta Tammy Duckworth is an American politician and retired National Guard lieutenant colonel serving as the junior U.S. Senator from Illinois since 2017. Right. She's from your state, Fred. Thank you so much. A member of the Democratic Party, she represented Illinois' 8th congressional district in the U.S. House of Representatives from 2013 to 2017. And yeah, good call. Good call, Fred. Oh, she was born in Thailand. Okay. Oh, education, University of Hawaii, George Washington University, Northern Illinois University, and Capella University. Capella is like military, and that's where she got her PhD. So she's a PhD also. And yep, awesome. Very, very cool. Combat veteran of the Iraq War, served as a helicopter pilot. In 2004, her Black Hawk helicopter was hit by a rocket-propelled grenade fired by Iraqi insurgents. She lost both legs and some mobility in her right arm. She was the first female double amputee from the war. Despite her injuries, she was awarded a medical waiver to continue serving in the Illinois Army National Guard for another 10 years until she retired as a lieutenant colonel in 2014. That is awesome. Thank you so much for that, Fred. Simply smile. Hello, hello. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't read chat, getting ready to go to work. Oh, and I'm getting ready to wrap up. So I really appreciate you guys being here. We've got 9 in the house and 7 likes. So I'll show the thumb one more time to ask you to hit that like on your way out so that the video gets shared. Even though there's all that dead time where I'm trying to remember the name of BoobTube TV's channel. Oh, I'm so embarrassed, especially to BoobTube TV because they're so awesome and I love their content so much. So the fact that I was just coming up blank and empty-handed is crazy, crazy. They're here a lot. So I'll just have to apologize profusely. I hope you all have a great day. Yes, have a great day. Drink your water, eat your protein, fruits and veggies. I've been better about eating my veggies. It's something that I am constantly challenged by. So I really like just simple celery and carrots, and I don't like them so much plain. Celery, I really like it with peanut butter or some kind of like cream cheese dip. And then carrots, I really like with a tahini type of cream cheese dip, like a goddess dressing, or ranch. Ranch is good with both of them too, but ranch is just a little plain. But yeah, Eat your vegetables. It doesn't matter if you put all kinds of unhealthy stuff on your vegetables, just so that you're eating your vegetables is what's important. To quote a doctor who argued with a mom who was like, well, if I give them broccoli, they just put so much butter and cheese sauce on it that it just kind of cancels it out. And then I think it's even worse for them. And the doctor was like, biatch, I don't care if they put chocolate sauce on it. They need to eat their freaking vegetables. That was like 30 years ago when I worked in some kind of psychiatric institute. I think it was when I worked for Seattle Children's Home. But I'll just never forget that. I love that. So you guys can think of that too. Like, it doesn't matter if you put chocolate sauce on your vegetables, just so long as you eat your vegetables. That's what's important, right? So peace out, love and light. Take really good care of yourselves. And I'm going to try my hardest to get back on with my routine of doing my lives as often as possible daily. I got so many monkey wrenches thrown at me over the holidays and with everybody being sick and just one thing after another. It drives me freaking crazy because I really like to do this with you guys. It's extremely therapeutic for me. It helps my brain function more better. The more I do it, the more better my brain functions. So I need that. And I appreciate you guys so much. Love and light. Peace out. See you on the next one. Thanks for joining me here. Have a great rest of your day.